Okay, we have a fun project this weekend. Or this weekend, I mean this week. It's Thanksgiving week. And last weekend, JK behind me, we noticed that there was a slight leak in the rear differential cover. By slight leak, I mean the dead center of the differential cover had a leak. Because one of the teeth, well actually 5 of the teeth in the pinion broke, and it shot one of them through the diff cover and punctured a hole. So now I get to re-gear the JK. So instead of going back with a 456 gear ratio, we're going to go ahead and change it out to a 513 because we actually have 38s and 456 is the proper gear ratio for 35s. Since we run 38s, we need the extra low end torque, so we're going to go ahead and change it now to a 513. So we bought some tools for this job too. So on Amazon, there's a couple tools that I felt like we would need for this job. One of them was a 20-ton press, so I went ahead and bought that from Harbor Freight. It was $260 for the 20-ton press. I won't show that. I think most people know what a press looks like. But so as far as it goes for the other tools, we bought this bearing press kit for installing the race and the bearings and the differential and stuff like that, and the actual differential housing. It comes with different bearing sizes, and it comes with this little tool here that you thread onto it, and you can take it and you can hit it and you can press it in, and everything looks machined pretty well. It's all made out of aluminum. It's really lightweight, and it's really well packaged. It came just like this, but it came in a bigger box. We also bought for this job a dial indicator. This bearing install kit was like, I want to say $40. This right here was $44. This is a dial indicator, and it is a magnetic base. So we went ahead and bought this one. This was $44, so that way we could check the backlash from this, because this is one of those tools that we didn't have that we would need to do this job. This also came exactly how it is, but it came in a bigger box. Also for this job, we went ahead and bought a bearing separator kit. So that way we can separate the bearing from the axle shafts, because we're actually replacing the axle shaft bearings. The carrier, all the bearings are getting replaced. So we went ahead and bought this. The main reason why I bought this was just in case I press that pinion bearing on with a shim and it's not the proper pinion depth. We're gonna have to pull that bearing back off, and hopefully I'll be able to save that bearing if I have to do that with this. And if not, I'm gonna have to go spend another $20, $30 for new bearings. So hopefully this, if it comes to that, this does the job for us and everything. But it's also just a neat tool to have, and very well packaged and put together. This right here was about $40 as well. Catch the theme, right? $40, $40, $40. For this. All right. Well, I guess I could have opened it the correct way from right here. I guess I should have looked. But anyways, on these differentials, the yoke, because it's like a CV style drive shaft, it's not a traditional yoke. So sometimes pulling that off to get to the pinion nut, or to be able to get the pinion nut off to pull that, it's quite difficult. And so I didn't have any 3-draw pullers. So I went ahead and ordered a set of 3 different sizes, 2, 4, and 6 inch jaw, 3-draw pullers. These are $26 for the set on Amazon, just in case we needed them. You know, it's one of those things where I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So these are the new tools that I bought for this project. I've never done a differential job like this before. I've replaced carriers and spider gears, and I've installed auto lockers, but I've never actually replaced the ring and pinion itself. So partly I was blaming it on not having the tools, and these are the tools that I needed. I spent probably close to $400 on all the tools together to be able to have what I needed to properly do this job. Now just fingers crossed that I don't damage that pinion bearing and I get it right the first time, and if not, I'll have to buy a new bearing. Okay, so those are the tools that we bought for this job. Now the parts. For the axle shafts, the passenger side axle, the wheel seal was leaking. I've already replaced it twice and it was still leaking. So I'm starting to think there might be an abrasion on the axle itself, on the axle shaft itself, that's causing it to leak, and it's not sealing properly. But just to be on the safe side, we went ahead and ordered 2 sets with your press sleeve, your bearing, and your new seal. So we went ahead and bought one for each. These were from Extreme Terrain, and we got them for, I think, $50 a piece, I think, roughly. I can't remember 100%, but. And then also, to make the job a little bit easier, we went ahead and ordered crush sleeve eliminators. For the front crush sleeve eliminator, it was 40, and for the rear, it was 40, and for the front, it was 60. And they come with additional shims, so that way you can go ahead and get your preload set just right. And for those that don't know, on your pinion, you have a crush sleeve, and you tighten up your pinion until it stops wiggling. And then from there, you start setting your preload. You start crushing that sleeve. Well, if you crush it too much and put too much preload on there, you're gonna have to take it all back apart and use a new crush sleeve. Well, a lot of times they only come with one crush sleeve, and if you mess it up, that's it. You have to order a new one or go buy a new one. So just in case, we got these as a backup, but I might actually just install these to begin with, so that way, if I ever get a leaking pinion seal, it's easier to do it with these to replace that seal than having to worry about preload the next time around. So these are probably actually gonna go in the first time around. This is and these right here are actually gears from Rough Country. Everyone says don't buy Rough Country, they're made in China gears and blah, 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 blah. But the funny thing is, I was researching and looking into it, they actually said Yukon is one of the better gear sets, and so is Revolutionary Gear. Revolutionary Gear, some stuff says made in USA. I couldn't find everything saying that all their stuff was made in USA. Yukon has two different shops. One is in the US, one is in China. The one in China actually gets their steel from India, not from China. But supposedly, all their standards are held to the US facility. From what I understand, is Rough Country third parties their gears, their ring and pinions. Now, I'm not sure who they get them from, but if you read around enough, you actually find that some of the stuff actually traces back to that China shop from Yukon. I don't know how true it is. I know what I read, so I'm going to go ahead and give them a shot. And I decided I'm going to go ahead and do. The reason being is with Yukon, just to replace that 456 gear on the rear differential with new spider gears and all that good stuff, spider gears, ring and pinion, master install kit, it was going to be over $1,000 just for parts. You know, the install kit was $530. The ring was $380. So I said, let me look around, and I found both the front and the rear with master install kits for 513s for only $700 from Rough Country. So I'm like, you know, that's just a little under what one would cost. So, you know, I'll take my chances. All right, so here's the packaging for the install kit. This one is for the Dana 30. So, yeah, this is the master install kit for the Dana 30. Master install kit front Dana 30. Install instructions. You scan this, they have instructions on there how to do it. You got your new pinion bolts, you got your pinion seal, you got shims. Looks like maybe inner axle seals. You're going to replace those. You got your paint, your Loctite. I just sworn these are the paint. I guess they give you two different sets of ring bolts for your ring bolt, just to make sure you have the proper size bolt there. And then in this box right here, you have your crush sleeve, and then you have your bearings. And then it looks like you have your paint. Packaged very nicely. I know a lot of people care about packaging and the way it comes, so it's actually packaged very nicely. Let me go ahead and set these over here out the way. Okay, now for the Dana 44 install kit. Same thing, we have instructions. So this one right here though, you got the same thing. I got a Rough Country service sticker. And then in this one you actually have, look at that, Yukon gear and axle grease marker. Yukon. Like I said, I heard stuff on the internet that these come from the China Yukon shop, and you could actually take the part numbers and trace them back to the manufacturing, supposedly. I didn't go that far into it, but it's just kind of funny they would put Yukon in here, right? It's just repackaged Yukon gearing. And it's the same thing. The bearings, you got all your bearings for you. This is for your carrier and your pinion right here. And then you have your carrier bolt, your ring bolt gears, your ring gear bolts, and so on. So that's promising. Hopefully there's some truth to that. Now, for the gears themselves. This is the rough country ring and pinion right here for the Dana 30. And the thing is too about rough country, my Jeep and my wife's Jeep, almost everything we do is rough country. Almost everything we have is rough country on them. And my slip yoke eliminator is rough country. I've never had an issue with it. So as you can tell, it was boxed up, taped up. It comes styrofoam to protect, and then I'm just going to tilt this so y'all can see it. They're wrapped in plastic, and they got oil inside of there, and there's your ring, and there's your pinion, and it's very well packaged, very well packaged. So no chance of damaging on that, or at least a reduced chance of damaging on transit because of the way that this is packaged. So that's always nice whenever they care about their products. Packaging process. And then this is the Dana 44. Same thing, wrapped in styrofoam and taped up. And this is, instead of wrapped in plastic, this is wrapped in a wax paper, it looks like, and then it's wrapped in cellophane. And you got your moisture absorbing packets and stuff like that too. So here's your Dana 44 ring and pinion, wrapped up nice and tight. Now, I don't know if this is because it came from rough country and it's repackaged, or if this packaging was from Yukon and they just put it in their own rough country box, or they just pulled the label off and changed it to rough country instead of Yukon. I couldn't tell you. I don't know, and I'm not going to really look that far into it. I'm just glad that it's all here and it's in very good condition. So I don't have to worry about damaged parts in transit because they're very well taken care of. So let me move these out the way and get them off the table. Like I said, I paid $700 for this ring and pinion set. Now, we got this from Amazon. This is a Yukon locker, and I called Yukon to make sure that this was the right one on it from Amazon, just to make sure I didn't order the wrong locker and then get it here and then nothing lines up and fits, because your deck height and your gears and all that stuff, it matters whenever it comes to putting a new carrier in. Because if your deck height's not right, that's a little, I'm not going to say this is them, this could have been me, I don't know. Could have been them, could have been me, I don't know, but that package is a little ripped up. So the other stuff was definitely maybe a little taking care of a little bit better in transit. Let's see what it looks like on the inside here. So you got a big block of cardboard packing it, and then the same thing on the other side, and then the side with the holes, you can see it's because that was the carrier itself just kind of, I guess, banging around, punching through. All right, so this is a Yukon mechanical locker. This isn't just an open differential or a limited slip. So on the JK non-Rubicons, they only offer 2 selectable lockers that I could find for the non-Rubicon 44, and they're air compressor, like they're air lockers. So it's going to be like $1,700 for the install kit, the compressor, and the locker itself, like the differential. And also that's a lot of money. So I was going to order a auto locker, like a lunchbox locker, to go on the existing carrier, but apparently all JKs have limited slip carriers. There's no open differentials in the rear on a JK. Every rear differential ever put in a JK is a limited slip carrier. They don't make open carriers for a JK. So because of that, instead of being able to spend $250 on an auto locker, we spent $630 and went ahead and got this mechanical locker here. And I mean, it's oiled, it's packaged nicely. It looks like they put paint for torquing processes. And you can see down inside of the shims and sleeves, you can't really see nothing in there. It's just all the way through. But this has supposedly, it's like an auto locker. If y'all don't know what that is, look into them. A lunchbox locker, and this is the same basic mechanism as a lunchbox locker, but there's supposed to be clutches in here that actually allows it to operate better and smoother around cornering and stuff, but still allowing posi track when going straight. It's supposed to unlock and lock whenever you're driving. So yeah. Well, this one doesn't have a picture of what it looks like on the inside, but anyways, yeah, because I told my wife, I was like, look, if we're gonna spend over $1,000 just to fix it the way it is now, and we've only had it for a year and a half with the 456s, and they already broke. Why spend over $1,000 to put it back the way it was when we can spend $1,600 and extra, you know, maybe $400 and change up both gear ratios to 513 to see the difference between a 456 and a 513, and put a mechanical locker in the rear. Because if it was going to be almost $1,200, $1,300 just to do it back how it was with Yukon, why do that when you can spend $1,600, change out both ratios, have a locker, better performance, better on-road response, and better low-end torque on the trails? So this is the route that we're going to go here. Now, if you include the tools that I bought with all this total job's costing me $2,000 out of pocket because I'm doing it myself, including the wheel bearings and stuff. So it's far from like a cheap, affordable job for the weekend out of nowhere, but it's one of those things. If you're going to off-road and you're going to abuse your Jeep and you're going to take it places and rock crawl and mud and you're going to be pushing it to its limits, you got to be prepared to be able to pay the price to fix it whenever it goes down. And this is part of the price you pay. Either you have the time or the money. I have the time to fix it myself. I don't have the money to let someone else fix it. So I'm going to go ahead and knock this out myself and try to get a little bit of recording. There's tons and tons and tons of videos on how to do this job. So I'm not really going to record the job step by step. I'm just going to get some footage here and there of the job being done. But let's get started on this.